Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Piescor, and I am a master teacher at a Child's Play School in Lincroft, right around the corner.
And I'm Gina Miele, a professor at Montclair State University.
To begin, I want you to all close your eyes and let us take you on a guided imagery tour of your childhoods and your neighborhoods. Imagine it's Saturday morning, the sun is up, your eyes are open, and you sit up straight out of bed and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this day has so much possibilities. I'm excited, I want to get out there. You may not have definitive plans yet, but you know that once you get out into your neighborhood, you're going to be a big part of the plan making, and you will be going on so many adventures. So you throw off your covers, you slip on some clothing, and you know these clothing, anything that you put on is meant to get dirty. You're allowed to get dirty. You run downstairs, maybe get a bite to eat, and if you're lucky, you are out the door before your parents even notice that you haven't run a brush through your hair. So out in the neighborhood, the world is yours to discover, to own, to invent, whether you do it on your own or with friends. And the expectation, and this is the most exciting part, is that you are not due home until the street lights come on. So what do you do with all that time? With whom do you choose to spend it? Did you get in any trouble? Were there any conflicts? Think about how these things, how these experiences shaped who you are as a person, build upon your autonomy, and increase the confidence that you have in all areas of your life.
Play is the work of childhood. It's what children naturally do. And if you think play is easy, we invite you to pull up a park bench one day and watch how hard the children work to sustain and steer the play so that every child is satisfied. When we were little, nobody questioned that play was a fundamental right of every child. It was assumed that children belonged outside in a world created and facilitated by them. They made the rules, they changed the rules, and they negotiated and compromised as they deemed necessary.
And these are skills that were developed right on the spot. It's not something that can be taught, but you did it because you knew that you didn't want the play to end. You wanted to sustain it for as long as possible. I can't even imagine my parents' reaction if I ran home, bursted open the door and said, so-and-so hasn't been fair to me. They would have looked at me like, what do you want me to do? Either go outside or stay home.
Right, but we had time as children to decompress away from adult structured activities. Fast forward 30 years and childhood has taken a dramatic turn.
What has happened in the last 30 plus years to change our attitudes on play so that it's diminishing from the lives of children? Well, first and foremost, it's technology. It's slowly crept up on us, and we are addicted to the instant gratification that we get by just taking our fingertips, pushing a button, and getting any and all information and knowledge about any topic that we could possibly desire. And with this rush of technology, we are rushing our own children to grow up faster than is deemed appropriate developmentally. And as the curriculum is being pushed down, we make the assumption that we have to push play farther and farther out of the lives of children so that we can squeeze in more time for structured activities and extensions to learning so that we can give our children an edge.
But we as educators see the effects of banishing free play from a child's life, and we see this from nursery school right up through university. As school days have become longer and time for play, both during and after school, has diminished, studies reveal an alarming increase in childhood obesity, depression, antisocial behavior, and anxiety and attention disorders.
Socialconstructivist Lev Vygotsky proved that children act way above their chronological age when engaged in play. And that's especially true when they are working with children who have more experience. The younger children are forced to really challenge their language and come up with words to make their points and ideas known to the older, more experienced children. And the experienced children are also challenged in the way of language as they have to adjust their words to allow the younger children to really know what the play is about and what their roles are to help continue it. And all children, no matter what age, have a big increase in their ability to self-regulate their behavior because, again, they want to sustain this play. They don't want it to end.
Loris Malaguzzi, founder of Preschools in Reggio Emilia, Italy, suggested that children have more than 100 languages to use for expression and representation. Some children speak through construction materials. Others speak through creative arts materials, dramatic play, movement, music, writing, verbal expression, work with number and scientific principles. But what are we doing to nurture these languages in our children?
One of the ways we can reach that goal is to offer a variety of loose parts or found objects. These open-ended materials allow children to make their ideas become reality. And as their ideas change, the materials and the way that they use them can be transformed over and over and over again. And what is really great about this is it doesn't need to cost 1 penny. I am not above dumpster diving. I've done it plenty of times in the past, and I can see it clearly for my future.
I might be above it. Richard Louv coined the term nature deficit disorder. And he cautioned that if children aren't given ample opportunity to form a personal bond with the natural world, they will be far less likely to work to ensure its future health. Our children's physical, spiritual, and emotional well-being depends upon building forts in the woods, jumping in puddles, climbing trees, and using the natural world as their playground.
Children need a lot of opportunities to be outside in all types of weather in order to ensure sensory integration. When we deprive children of that, they can develop an intolerance to not only the changing temperatures, but to the textures that they approach as well. The Norwegians have an old adage that says, there is no such thing as bad weather, just poor clothing.
Remember that play is not just for the young child. What better way, for example, for a college student to truly understand poetry about nature than to visit a local reservation as a class and read that poetry aloud while observing and interacting with the natural world? Bev Boss, an author, educator, and advocate for play-based learning, famously said, if it hasn't been in the hand and in the body, it can't be in the brain. And what that means in my college language classroom is that memorizing and reproducing Italian vocabulary about childhood hobbies, sports, play, is far less effective than just going outside to play while speaking in the target language.
As we talk about with young children, offering young adults opportunities to dive into a learning experience with their entire beings, with all of their senses, sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, they are more likely to internalize knowledge and information than if somebody is up front lecturing. Storytelling is such a powerful tool to bring us back to our roots. When we give children of any age many opportunities to play with words, to play with stories, they authentically gain a deep understanding into such concepts as sentence and story structure, and they feel a strong desire to put as much detail into their stories as possible so that the listener or the readers will vividly picture and imagine what the author intended to say.
So a visit to a local exhibit on bookmaking led to inquiries about who we were, who we are, and who we hope to become. My students were able to tap into creative forms of expression that were once the staples of their childhood: collage, painting, drawing, origami, and sculpture, in order to narrate stories in Italian about their past, present, and future selves.
Upon the suggestion of Gina, we were fortunate to be able to bring our kindergarten, first grade combined class to this same exhibit. And they saw it as such a playful and joyful experience, and there was no doubt in their mind that they were already bookmakers. So upon the return to our school, many stories were created and a plethora of books were made and represented in these ways.
So even college students love scavenger hunts. But in order to be successful, students have to decode together clues in a different language and then travel all around campus before returning to my classroom triumphant. Students take on leadership roles, they play to one another's strengths, they form a communal bond, and they work together in order to win the scavenger hunt. Everybody wants to win. The best part of it, though, is that they're not just memorizing information for a test and then forgetting it the next day. Rather, they are pursuing knowledge because it gives them pleasure. In Italian, we say ridendo si impara, which means one learns by laughing. Let's revisit that question, Debbie, at the beginning.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the very beginning of our talk, when we imagined that we were back in our neighborhoods. Did you get into any trouble? I know I certainly did. Were there conflicts? There were in my area of the woods. What did you do to try to solve them? Did you try reaching solutions on your own, or did you do it collaboratively with the children in your neighborhood? Nevertheless, you didn't get it from an external adult force. You needed to do it then, right in the situation, so that you can sustain that play. And also, think about what that did for you, for your future self. It helped you to develop into critical and creative thinkers, which is necessary in a world, job, and a future that really has not even been invented yet.
It might be a challenge to get our children to turn off their screens and go outside to play, but it can be done. We as parents can assure our children that they will have their screen time after they've taken a moment to decompress through unstructured and child-directed play. It will take maximum encouragement and practice before play without adult support becomes a habit. But until that time, remember, it's okay to let your children be bored. Boredom is not a dirty word. Boredom is a portal that leads to curiosity, creativity, and imagination.
I am fortunate to work at a school where play is the driving force of our curriculum, but it doesn't need to be the responsibility of schools. You as parents can ensure that play stays central to your child's lives. Some of the ideas that we found worked with our own children, instead of organizing a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, I Play America, Bounce You, try setting it up in the middle of the woods. Just imagine what your child can do with all of the natural objects that they find in the woods. Try the beach. I mean, they spend hours playing and working, and they don't even realize that the time is passing by. Go on a bike ride. And going back to the technology aspect of it, and it being so prominent in our lives, mass media, you're getting news from all around now. So it seems, the perception is that bad things are happening all the time, close to home. So if you're still fearful and apprehensive about letting your children go, give them a walkie-talkie. Both of my kids knew growing up that if the walkie-talkie was out of range, they traveled too far.
Yours can be the home where all the neighborhood children come to play. Model and foster curiosity in your homes. Offer your children a wide array of open-ended materials and encourage them to tinker with items and ideas.
You're going to hear from a lot of young speakers tonight, and it is obvious to us that they still have unlimited, unstructured, non-adult driven opportunities to play. They already can imagine who they can be in this world and what they can accomplish. They are activists for change, and we are looking forward to hearing them as well.
If we can leave you with just one thought this afternoon, it will be this. Every day, and in many ways, let's let our children play. Thank you.
Good afternoon. for Kids. It's great to see you all. I'm going to talk about STEM, the early years. For 10 years, I worked as a graphic designer in New York City. I was part of a team of electricians, plumbers, contractors, tile designers, and in lighting. I recommended cabinetry, countertops, and hardware. We worked as a team, and we were, experiencing some challenges at times, and then we would experience some really good, projects that were going well. And we created our own plans, and we worked together. And when things were going great, we were very happy. When things weren't going great, it was very frustrating. But we came together and we problem solved and we figured things out. And then when a lot of our plans had to be submitted to the building supplies and the contractors and the architects. So when we were finished and we ended up at the end of the project, we walked away knowing what worked, what didn't. We learned about ourselves and we learned about each other. I saw a very similar curiosity with my son in his kindergarten class. Every day when they would come in, they were eager and excited to go to block building corner. They would come away, talking to each other, trying to figure out what they were going to make. They would look at the structure, they would build structures, they would look and see the height, they would check the balance. They would walk away, go to have lunch or do something else, and then come back later on and try to figure out, even make it larger. Sometimes I wondered how they didn't step on each other's hands because there was so much activity going on. And when they walked away and they looked at what they made, they were really impressed and it was magnificent. They figured out what worked, what didn't work. They learned about each other and they learned about themselves. 7 years ago, I discovered a company that provides science and engineering materials for young kids. They had lessons and materials. I thought this was incredible. This was the next level of learning for our young kids. So when I was looking at them, I realized these were very different components. There was motors and battery boxes, gears, axles, tech pins, non-friction pins, all the items that young kids can learn at the next level of building. So I contacted some teachers and we all decided we were going to try to bring this into the schools, which would be a great complement for what was going on already for their elementary schools. So we sent out our emails, we sent out letters, and nobody called us. At the time, the Hurricane Sandy had hit the Jersey Shore, and teachers, schools were flooded, businesses were damaged, houses were destroyed, a lot of students were relocated. So we changed our focus and we went to after school and day camps. And we found that a lot of the area was very interested in having some of their kids kind of involved in projects, group projects, that would take their minds off of what was going on. And we found a lot of creativity going on. We were involved with, like I said, a lot of early engineering projects and programs. The only thing we had to help them with was just working together in partners. But that didn't take very long. They were eager to learn and eager to get to know each other and work together. So I was doing some research and I found that Dr. Martha Burns has said that a lot of information that kids, hands-on learning that they learn in kindergarten is encoded in their system. And they hold on to this, and then when they're experiencing more information, they create synapses, and those create super highways in their systems. And those, over time, get stronger and stronger with more of their experiences, hands-on experiences with other kids. So a little while later, I was contacted by another school asking for a robotics class. I didn't offer robotics, but I was interested in bringing that in, so I partnered with an engineer, and we were offering a 6-week class for students that were interested during lunchtime. And that was successful, so we were asked for another group of 3rd graders to offer them a program during the school time. And we went in and we asked them, we brought in a windmill for them to learn about inventions and laws of motion. And that was a really good treat for them. They were so excited that they decided to offer a lunchtime program. And we asked them if they wanted to participate. We had 40 kids on Tuesday, 30 kids on Thursday. And each week they built a model that was motorized, and they learned about laws of motion, transportation, innovation. And then I asked them, then I decided I'm going to really challenge them and see how far they can go with their capabilities and with their interest. So we decided on the 5th week, we would ask them to build an amusement park. And this time, they were going to need to use their imagination and their creativity. So with 40 kids, we had 20 different projects. And some of them were motorized, and many of them were non-motorized. They had to work with the materials that they had and come up with their own ideas. And it was very, very impressive. The one thing we wanted them to understand when they were building is that when we were to create the final masterpiece, that they would stagger coming up to the table so that they can imitate a real-world experience, where when you're building, there's different phases and there's different times when the buildings are going to be created and when they're going to be put down. And they rose to the occasion, and they were very excited about what they built. And I noticed the same thing. They were able to experience what worked, what didn't. They learned from each other, and they learned about themselves. So what I find about one of the programs that we do is that it really gives them an opportunity to learn about themselves, and they come away with understanding a little bit more about each other too. And so I want to really share that it's a curiosity to know that the engineering that's available, is it exclusively for high schoolers? Because a lot of the components of like college education is available only to high schoolers. But fortunately, I found out that this information is not exclusively for college or high schoolers. It's available to our kids at a young age, elementary school, and they really benefit from it because right now they're at a very good point where they can learn, they can grow, and they can experience all that's available to them. What's happened over the years is MIT and Lego, they've partnered and they've created some systems and technology that is deliberately meant for the younger kids. They have a program called Lifelong Kindergarten, and they specifically want kids to be able to experience creativity, learning, working together for kindergarten, for elementary school, for middle school, and then ultimately high school, and then going off to college. Because the world is very different now. There's so much technology out there, but we don't want our kids to just participate in computers. We want to have them do all the electronics, all the activities that's available to them. So we want them to also figure out what works, what doesn't, and learn about each other, and then learn about themselves. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Kavanaugh. I'm a kid. I'm a 6-year-old kid. I'm a 6-year-old kid on a mission to change the world. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Take a look in this mirror. Tell me what you see. Just a bunch of regular folks in the auditorium. Maybe some people sleep in the back. But that's not all I see. I see a room full of people with unlimited power and unlimited ideas and amazing energy to change the world. Right now, in this moment of life. Just vibe with me, because in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you how to create magic that will make the world a better place. Are you ready? Let's go. The first ingredient you need is M for motivation. And the best part is, motivation is all around us. Every day at school, at home, even in your community. Keep an eye out and pay attention about what may be affecting you. See, one day I was playing with my toys and my mom was watching the news like she always does. And I heard a story about a little boy named Gabriel. And he wasn't much older than me, so I asked my mom what happened to him. She told me that he was bullied, and that was sad, very sad, especially because he committed suicide. I could have told myself, Kavanaugh, that's none of your business, because bullying is everywhere, and I'm just a kid. I can't do anything about it. I mean, I didn't know him or his family, but he was from Ohio, and I live in Maryland. They're 483 miles apart. Should I really care? And the answer is absolutely. So that's how I unlocked the first part of my magic. I got the motivation to help, even if I didn't know him or his family. It's that simple. Ingredient 2, A is for action. See, your motivation is useless unless you get up and do something about it. So how could I get more people to help stop bullying? Well, I knew I couldn't visit every school or talk to every student or share everyone's story. But I knew I could start a wave of action in my hometown. So I went to work and I used my best asset. You see this face? Come on, how could you tell me no? I mean, unless you're my mom. But lucky for me, my city mayor, shout out to Mayor Ashman, by the way, let me come and speak at their city council meeting. I was so nervous, but I was clear on one very important thing. I wanted the city of Gaithersburg to be quick to help and not to judge. So to take a big stand against bullying and pay respects to Gabriel, I got the mayor to agree to make February 21st our city's Bullying Awareness Day. That means every February 21st, which is also Gabriel's birthday, I hope we all pause and reflect on how we treat each other. Remember, find your M for motivation. It could be anything. Take your A for action. Don't be afraid to speak up. And next for your magic, you'll need G for generosity. I wanted to do even more to help my community and Gabriel's family, but I didn't have any money. So I thought about pulling some teeth out for the tooth fairy, but I knew that wouldn't be enough. So you know what I did? I climbed on a store counter in front of about 50 people I didn't even know. And I told them Gabriel's story and how I got February 21st dedicated in his honor. Now I know this sounds crazy, but it worked. I almost got $300 donated in just 5 minutes. And I used this money along with other hundreds of things that companies donated to make We're Cool bags for bullying victims. I took about 25 bags to 8 different schools so bullying victims know that they're not alone. And I even got people to donate and send tons of love to Gabriel's mom all the way in Cincinnati, Ohio. And me and my mom also took a flight to meet her and give her the proclamation. So she knows that people do care and we are here to help. So when you act, always do so generously and with an open heart and a big smile like this. 2 more ingredients left to unlock magic, and they are I for involvement and C for change. Because sharing is caring and teamwork makes the dream work. The great news is you don't have to change things alone. Get out there and ask people to help. But for me, speaking out against bullying is not all I did. I talked to lots of kids like you and me who had their own bullying stories to tell. Some of them used to be bullies, and some of them had been bullied too. So I went to social media and even all the way to Capitol Hill where they make the laws for the country. And I even got one of my best friends named Gabby to help me. We took roses to lawmakers on Valentine's Day because, you know, politics has so much hostility, they just can't get enough positivity. So I went to social media and made videos to spread the word that bullying should stop. In fact, I made a new video every day in February. That's 28 days, 28 stories, and a lot of change that happened. The lesson here is, never be afraid to ask for help. You will be surprised at how happy people are to lend a helping hand. But when I get all hands on deck, I invite my friends over to help me give back. And I even call people if I have to get more people out in the community. And you have the best place to find the most incredible helpers in the world, right here at school. You can get your friends together, ask your teachers to help, and even get your family in on the action too. But trust me, you'll have so much fun giving back, and the more people you can inspire to do the same great work, the more you can actually spark change. There you have it. We all have world-changing, vibe-spreading, smile-causing magic, but only when we know how to use it. So get out there, find your M for motivation, stay focused on taking A for action, always help with G for generosity, get your friends and family out or involved, and keep it up to C for change the world. Never forget, no matter if you're 3, 13, 23, 53, or 73 like my grandma, you can make magic. And if you're ever stuck and need some help, check out my nonprofit called Cool Dope for Ideas. I'm on a mission to show the world that kids like you and me can have an impact. So watch out, world, we're coming. My name is Captain Bell, and I hope you'll join me in making positivity a thing. Remember, we're Gabriel's life. Rest in love, Gabriel. Good night.